You're listening to the audio-only version of Cocktails with Cav, the popular video cast streamed live only on X. Follow us here on Spotify or on X at Cav Literature.
Oh, happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome to another great edition of Cocktails with Cav, where we bring the indie creator meet and greets to you. Great show for you tonight. Have an incredible young adult fiction author with two great books we're going to talk about, so you're going to want to stick around. Oh, a little bit of housekeeping, of course. Please check the links in the description. You'll have our guests' link as well as the link to support the show. Please consider it. Cheap cup of coffee is all it takes at our Buy Me a Coffee link, as well as check out our merch page. A lot of great swag. Great way to support the show. Oh, well, everybody, look, we're looking out for Hurricane Helene, of course. We're thoughts and prayers going out to my fellow Gulf Coast peeps in Florida. So everybody keep them in mind. Going to be a powerful storm. But heck, it's so big and so fast, it's going to wreak havoc all the way into the Carolinas, Atlanta, everything. So, yeah, keep Southeast United States in your thoughts and prayers right now. Well, all right, enough of all of that. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome to the stage the incredible young adult fiction author, Rebecca Hendricks. Oh, Becky, so glad you could finally join us on Cocktails with Cav. Been looking forward to having you on, even though we had some technical difficulties early on.
Yeah, no worries.
Oh, great. Well, how are you anyway? Things have been going great with your works that we're going to talk about in a few minutes. Where are you coming to us from tonight?
I live in Denver, Colorado.
That's beautiful country, right?
yeah, it's nice. Yeah, it is nice. A little warm, but it's nice.
Oh, yeah. Don't talk to me about a little warm. I'm down here in New Orleans with my wet wool blanket of humidity.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you win.
That's it. No, I tell you what, the last time I was up in Colorado, that place is it's just gorgeous, undeniably gorgeous. For sure, you know.
Yeah, it's beautiful up here. We're going to Durango over the weekend, so that'll be nice.
I mean, the oxygen's a little thin up there. That's why everybody votes Democrat. No, I'm just. That's right. Where's the drums? But oh my goodness. Well, Becky,
you know what? It depends on what part of the state you're in. If you're a Democrat.
Yeah, that's. Oh boy, I tell you what, that Yeah, it's just got to be inspiring for writing too, you know, just that landscape sometimes, right?
Yeah, I'm a native, so yeah, I grew up here.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, Becky, we love for the audience to get to know the creators. Really, you know, please tell us about yourself, how you got into writing, all that kind of good stuff.
Well, I've been writing since I was young. I've always enjoyed, writing and telling stories. So I've been doing it since I was, since I was old enough to write. I didn't really start writing. I mean, I started out with poetry and, writing a few little songs and then I did a few like little plays, and then I didn't write my first book till I was 14.
Okay.
Yeah. And that was only a few years ago. No, okay.
That's it. And I tell you, that's right. Only a few years ago.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, as a indie creator, we talk about it all the time, Becky. Just it's a tough road to hoe, and
yes.
But I know you have some great relationships with a great indie publisher that helps you out, Black Chateau.
Yes.
But I really, as an indie creator, golly, when you're churning out your live stream work and around your day job,
yes, exactly.
It's something that I think a lot of people don't realize.
Yeah.
How extra that effort is.
Yeah, because I it's interesting that you say that, because yes, I do have a full-time job. And as you know, this is my second book, so it's like things have stepped up quite a bit. So now I'm kind of like, oh my gosh, I'm trying to do both, and it's not easy.
Right.
It's
for
hard.
sure.
It's a lot of work.
Well, that's for sure. And do you, I'm a huge fan. One of the reasons we started the show, is bring the author meet and greet to you, and it's just one of my favorite things. Always has been going out, to various events and things like that to get to meet the creators. And like I said, one of the reasons we started this show. Do you do a lot of events yourself to try to promote what's going on, or?
I mean, really, being with Black Chateau, they've helped me a lot. Before them, I wasn't getting much of anything. So they've really, really boosted my career quite a bit. Oh,
that's incredible.
Yeah, it is.
I know they're a heck of an outfit, and it's just, I tell you, between marketing and, the editing, developing covers, whatever, it's crazy, right? So how exactly did that relationship get started,
Well, like you were just saying, I mean, there's so much that you have to do I knew it was going to be a lot. I knew it was going to be a lot of hard work, but I didn't really realize how much until, I got into it, because you've got to, there's so many things you have to do, if you're going to, depending on what your dream is or what you're trying to accomplish. But if you want to, you have to try to get out there and find the people that are going to read your book, get reviews, try to do some marketing, email marketing and things like that. And it's a lot. And so you're kind of find yourself being like, once you've got your book, you're like, yay. But then it's like you're dropped into this whole other pool of stuff.
Right. Well, Black Chateau definitely, has a ton of services, like we were just kind of showing the audience on the screen. So it makes a difference, I tell you, for us poor indie creators, right?
Well, they're fantastic. I mean, I met them through, I got an award through the Book Fest, which is also theirs. So that's kind of, Hound Dog got 2 awards. So that's how I ended up getting together with them and having them help me out with the promotion and marketing for Hard Dogs Night.
You got both the, what was it, gold and young adult historical fiction and the silver, right? And young adult boys and men fiction. So incredible. I tell you, well, good thing, right? That's well, do you find that as you're working through like all of these works, do you have any, and we'll try to get a scoop on Cocktails with Cav, do you have any plans, because when we get into a few seconds talking about your work, I know it's a series and we'll be talking about 1 and 2. Is there a little scoop for Cocktails with Cav? Got something else coming down the pipe?
Yeah, there'll be 2 more books in this series.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
I'm currently working on book 3 right now. So, yeah.
That's great. Because, when I first, met you and talked with Shirley over at, Black Chateau, but just your work, I was intrigued. I love the 1950s rock and roll themed, incredible story. And of course, we'll talk about it in a few seconds, but so great. You got 2 more coming in this series then, huh?
Yeah, there'll be 2 more. And then I of course, plan on continuing. I do have an idea for a standalone I want to do, but I'm going to write some other series.
Amazing. Well, great. Well, I know we're going to be looking forward to that. Well, I tell you what, Becky, I have to refill my cocktail. You got me all excited now that we've got a scoop on Cocktails with Cav. But look, when we come back, please, let's talk about book 1 and 2 in your series. Great works. Stick around, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, when we get back, we'll talk about Hound Dog and Hard Dog's Night when we get back. Okay, real fast, ladies and gentlemen. Quick mid-roll break. Look, please, if you haven't had a chance to check out our Linktree link in our profile, as well as scrolling here across the bottom of the screen for you, please remember to do so. It's got an incredible amount of information and all our links, of course, and you'll never miss a great Cocktails with Cav offering. It has all our social media links, as well as the latest Cocktails with Cav episode with great indie creator interviews from around the web. As well as our fun after hours live show. You're not going to want to miss that one. We have a great time. And also a link to our brand new daily blog for our members, which has all kinds of great information and tips for indie creators, from everything from creation to marketing. So you're going to want to check all of those out. And as always, just check out all our links and follow all our social media platforms. We'd certainly appreciate it. So remember, please, check out our Linktree link on our profile, as well as scrolling across the bottom of the screen for you. Oh, Becky, thanks so much for hanging in with me. I was getting parched on this end.
It's a lot.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, like I was saying before the break, Becky, I really was. I was intrigued with the work. I loved the theme. And when I first started discussing with you, having you as a guest, had come across Hound Dog, book 1 in your series, and just really wanted you to have you on to talk about. Why don't you tell us and the audience a little bit about it and the theme in the series, and we'll talk about your first 2 great books in the series, especially one that has just come out at the beginning of August, right? The second book?
Yes.
Oh, awesome. All right, well, tell us about book 1 in the series, Hound Dog, if you could.
Okay, yeah, so Hound Dog it's a lot of different things. It is considered historical fiction. It is also a coming-of-age story and a found family story. It's about a group of young men who come together in the late 1950s and to form a rock and roll band. Kind of like at the birth of rock and roll. So they're starting out as a new group. They're in the early stages of that great era. Yeah. So that's kind of the background piece of it. You get to know the characters as you read through the story, how they all met, how they all got together. They're all unique in their own ways. They all have their own unique personalities that they bring to the group. They're a little bit mismatched at first, so that kind of adds some excitement to it. You get to know all of them. Also, you get to meet the group that's kind of their nemesis, their rival, I guess. Called the Dice. They're called the Dice, and they're basically a group of narcissists. Is a good way to put it. They're on the verge of stardom. They're on their way. They're about ready to make a record. They've got their act together. They're polished, and they're playing at the number 1 place in town. And so they're kind of snobby and set in their ways, and it's my way or the highway.
Right.
So that's kind of how, and they end up bumping up against each other, and so that's what kind of starts the whole conflict between the two.
That's an awesome story. Yeah, that classic antagonism going on, yeah. I assume, right?
yeah, because the Hound Dogs are new and they're starting out and they're not very polished at all. And so it's kind of, it's a good clash to start with, yeah.
Yeah, and of course everybody loves the Hound underdogs. You see what I did there?
Exactly. Yes. No, I appreciate it. Thank you so much, because yes, you hit the nail on the head there. Yeah, you really did.
Oh, but no, that's great. And I know, of course, like we just said early on, book 2 in the series just came out in August. I know. Yeah, y'all better grab this up before it sells out, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I'm telling you. But Hard Dogs Night book 2, continues on the story. Give us some skinny.
So one of the biggest problems that the Hound Dogs have in book 1 is they don't have a drummer. So book 2 starts out with their pursuit. They're trying to find a drummer to join their band, because they are going to come up against the Dice in a kind of like a quote unquote showdown show. So things kind of get a little bit more heated and a little more intense as they prepare for this showdown. And the story takes place in a small town where not much happens. So it's very quiet, and so everybody knows who the Dice are, so they're trying to keep it on the down low and keep it quiet. They take on an assumed name, so it's just supposed to be this quiet show that's genuine. So in other words, they didn't want the house stacked against the Hound Dogs to begin with. And but things happen and the story leaks out, and then it just explodes into this huge deal.
Yeah, and it's like you mentioned, the story gets a little more deep, as you get into book 2. Did you find, as you're writing the series, and I mean, of course, and we'll try to get a sneak peek of book 3 that you're working on in a few minutes, but did you find the evolution of the story as you were writing it, to become a little more intense? That kind of thing. What was that process like for you?
Well, I kind of had because I wrote it so many years ago, but I kind of had an idea where I wanted it to go. But as I was writing it, I started to do more research into the decade, into the music, into what all that meant. And I mean, it's not just about, the 1950s as a backdrop plays its own character. And there was so much that happened during that decade. Like when rock and roll first hit the scene, a lot of adults considered it to be the devil's music. It was evil. It was going to turn the kids bad and into juvenile delinquents. So it was like a really bad thing. And so I was like, oh gosh, that's great.
Yeah,
because I was able to, because already you got this band of, misfits, kind of, not troublemakers, but some of the characters are questionable, and it's like, what a perfect backdrop for them to be totally targeted as these bad boys of rock and roll, and then when things explode, they're to blame for it, and so that kind of thing.
Yeah, and I tell you, it's like you said, and I'm just pulling up your website so people in the audience can get a glimpse of it, and of course the links will all be in the description there for the show, ladies and gentlemen. But living in the 50s, like you said, when you mentioned that the decade itself and the societal norms and upheaval that was going on does become, a character within itself almost to drive some of the story. So that's fascinating.
Yeah, because they're a small town, and they're so used to things going a certain way. Things have always gone like this, and now all of a sudden, poof,
Right.
So it's like, now do we do, like scrambling and running around? All these parents are up in arms, and, it just causes this whole uproar.
Oh, yeah. That's incredible. And so, I think I really, like we had talked about earlier, as you evolved through the story into book 2 and starting to not only expand on that theme, but dive a little deeper into what's driving not only society, but the characters, it's fascinating. Not only a fun work, but, kind of a fascinating examination of that,
Yeah, I tried to make it interesting. I mean, there is a lot of different things going on. There's a lot going on with a lot of different characters, which some people like and some people don't. But I wanted to keep it interesting, and I didn't want it to be about just one little thing. I wanted to kind of capture it all, which probably, it made it extra hard. But to me, it's just wonderful. I like, but because it challenges me as a writer to write something like that.
Well, yeah, and I think you just mentioned, and I of course, we talk with a lot of authors,
Yeah.
And I'm always fascinated with character development and dives on that psychological edge of the character. And but when you mentioned, there's characters some people don't like and others like, and you've done your job as an author if I can hate your character like you wrote him, right? That's and that's just, that's my take on it.
Yeah.
But you've apparently done a good job if I dislike him as much as you wrote him.
Well, they just don't like some people don't like the fact that there's so many characters. And some of them have J names. I didn't even really think about it. There's like 3 people with J names. I'm like, I'm sorry, I wasn't even thinking about it, to be honest. But I think it adds to it. That way you don't get bored with one thing, and it keeps it interesting, and it all kind of comes together too.
Right.
All those pieces come together, and it's challenging for me, and I love it.
Oh, well, that is amazing. And all right, come on, give us some scoop now. What's the third book gonna, how's it shaping up, and what are we looking at?
Well, because at the end of book 2, things are kind of in an uproar. So that's where book 3 starts with, is dealing with the fallout and the uproar and trying to navigate it. Is basically.
Oh, okay. So you're going to stay tight-lipped, are you?
There's romance going on in the book. There's, girls and romance and things like that too. That's all going on in the background. That whole problem that women faced in the 50s is there. And so, there's a lot of layers.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, we're definitely, any anticipation of when book 3 might be coming out, or?
Well,
without beating you up just like your editors, right?
Right. It's hard. Like we were talking earlier, I do have a full-time job, but I'm working on it. I hope to have it out. My hope is by the early part of next year, or springtime. Yeah.
Oh, well, we will definitely be looking forward to it. So I definitely will. Well, Becky, I cannot thank you enough for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come on Cocktails with Cav.
It was awesome.
We loved having you, and pleasure's definitely all ours, and get the audience to get to know you and your great work and what's coming for you. So, ladies and gentlemen, please, the links to Becky's website will be in the description of the show, and you'll be able to peruse all of her news, and by all means, ladies and gentlemen, please check out her work. It's available on Amazon and a lot of other great retailers where you get your fine reading materials from. But by all means, please check out Hound Dog, the first in the series, and then of course follow it up with Hard Dog's Night. That's second book in the series, and we're all, like I said, we're looking forward to your third book in the series too, Becky.
Thank you.
So by all means, again, I know I said it a couple of times, but really, really appreciate you coming on the show. Rebecca Hendricks, ladies and gentlemen, from Denver, Colorado. Cheers.